right, so here's the deal so far. I took the vehicle in to the dealership, and those guys said that they were 3 weeks out. I couldn't wait for them at all, and they didn't seem too interested in helping me. So I decided to take the vehicle to another dealership, and they were telling me that they wouldn't be able to look at it until today. Well, I have work that I have to deal with, so I decided, you know what, I will just go ahead and set the appointment up for Wednesday. So on Wednesday I will take it in, and then we will find out exactly what is wrong with the vehicle. We may never know exactly what's wrong, but you know what I mean. We're gonna find out what they tell us is wrong with the vehicle, and then I'll make my decision on what I want to do from there. I want you to listen very closely here. Of course, now I'm off the highway. This vehicle has what is called a transmission shudder. So you will hear it in just a moment. If you can see the gear shift here, now it's the gear indicator, basically. Now it's dropped back down to 1. But what's happening is when I get somewhere around, usually it's by the 4th gear. By the time I get to the 4th gear, it just likes to jump right up to the 6th gear. And when it does this, there's a vibration, a shudder that you feel throughout the vehicle. It's very obvious when it happens. The problem is getting it to show up or to turn up in this video. So we're about to take off now, and I think you're gonna hear it. Just give me a moment here. We're waiting on the green light. Here we go. Now, if I get on it, watch my RPMs. Like if I get on the accelerator, no problem. It's not slipping. Transmission's not slipping. But this could did you hear that? Probably didn't, but because I'm talking. So let me try it one more time. Wow. I got another red light. All right, we're gonna see if you can hear it now. But basically what is happening here is the torque converter obviously has some sort of an issue, which is causing it to shudder. It's not slipping, it's just this vibration. And I felt that I did a very good job of explaining this to the service rep at this dealership, and he put down that I needed engine work. So like a fool, I'm about to go back over here and tell him how he's supposed to do his job. This is probably a bad idea. I don't recommend any of you try this at home, but that's what I'm going to do. And if he doesn't make me feel like, did you hear that? That was the shudder, if you could hear it. I don't want to go back on my word about taking this thing to the dealership whenever I have an issue with it moving forward, because things didn't work out with those smaller mechanics. And I don't have time to keep tinkering with this thing and trying to figure out what's wrong with it every single time. I just want it to work right. Listen to the shudder one more time. What I told him, and he translated this poorly, there it was. That's the shudder. So it's mainly happening in 6th gear. Once it goes into 6th gear, that's where most of the shuddering occurs. Describe the sound. It's kind of like when you're on the highway and you know those little lines that are on the side of the highway, those grooves on the side to let you know, hey, you need to get back on the road. Well, you're not going to believe this, but I'm at my second Ford Lincoln dealership this morning, and these guys, well, the first one, let me tell you what's going on there. I show up and I just tell the guy straight up, I said, listen, I think you and I miscommunicated. What I told you and what you put on that report are two totally different things. Now, I don't know why you would even equate these shifting issues or the descriptions, like the symptoms I gave you, with an engine problem. So here's the deal. I told him, if you're going to treat this like an engine issue, then I'm not gonna leave the vehicle here. Like, we're not gonna do this. I've already brought this to the attention of Lincoln corporate headquarters. We're not going to do this. So I said, I want to know what you're going to do right now. I think we have what is called a torque converter shutter, or a transmission shutter with the vehicle, because it's happening in 6th gear. And he says, well, listen, something just happened this morning. Our transmission guy just quit and left us weeks behind on transmission work that needs to be done. So he said, I recommend you go to the next dealership. You know, we don't want to lose your business, but I just go to the next dealership and see what they have to say. So I show up there and I said, can you do a drain and refill? And the guy says, what's going on with the vehicle? And I told him. He says, I'm going to give you some advice. Don't waste your money doing that. Just drive the vehicle until the transmission needs to be repaired, and I highly recommend that you take it to like a third-party transmission shop and have them rebuild that one gear. Well, I'm not going to do that because that's just a nightmare. He actually suggested that I put Lucas in the transmission. Well, you know, I've done that before with a transmission and it did help. There's the shutter again. There it is again. So now you hear what I'm dealing with. Well, I am stuck here in our lovely Atlanta traffic, so I figured this would be a good time to give you an update on what I'm doing here. Even though all of this is going to go into one video, so I guess I can just cut that part out. Anyway, after going to those 3 different dealerships, they made it very clear to me that I'm on my own. And with that being said, I decided to pick this stuff up. Walmart does carry this for $6. Now I paid $10 for this at AutoZone. This was one of the last 2 they had left at AutoZone. Now, what was the weird thing about this is the packaging on this one was different than the other one, but I decided to go with this one because the other one, I don't know, it just didn't have anything on the back. The back was just plain old white on the back, and I don't know, hopefully this is the more updated version. I don't think there's a difference. I think it's the same substance that's in here. Now, I didn't really feel like getting underneath the car and doing it myself, so I went to a guy who knows these transmissions really well. He has a shop, and I told him, look, you know, as long as you don't rob me on this, I'm willing to pay you to put it in there. I just want you to throw this stuff in. He says, come back first thing in the morning. So I will be back there first thing in the morning as soon as they open their doors, which is 8:45 a.m. and we'll see what happens here. Just gotta put this in. I'm gonna stand there and look over his shoulder while he does it, and I'll bring a waiver probably just for him to sign, or just showing him that I'm not going to hold him accountable for anything. But I hope that this stuff is as good as people say. The reviews are mixed, but the majority of the reviews are people saying, I can't believe that this stuff really worked, but it did. And until then, I guess we can just call this snake oil for transmissions, and we'll just see if it really works out. Okay, we're gonna find out right now if this stuff is gonna work. We're gonna be able to inspect the vehicle, see if it has any leaks or anything like that, and then we're gonna put this in and see what happens from there. So they're raising it up right now. I'll be right back with you. So this is what you want right here. That bolt.
All right, let me show you.
All right. Super hot.
Cold? Huh?
Yeah, God, that fluid does not look good.
Instead of what you claim, very hot.
Yeah. I'm gonna come back and tell you if this stuff
work.
you know, a yay or nay.
I can start using it.
Yeah.
And it not to be good. I like how the transmission fluid don't come out.
All right, just left the shop. There is the mileage on the odometer. I am driving now. I've only been driving about probably half of a mile, and I'm getting on the highway right now, and we're gonna see what happens here. We'll see if this stuff really works, because they definitely didn't believe it. They're like, okay, if you want to put it in, let's put it in there, but we're not going to give you a receipt or anything because we don't want to be held liable for this at all. And I said, I totally understand that. So all we did is we looked at it. The guy, he's worked with tons of transmissions, so he smelled the dipstick. The fluid did not look great to me. It wasn't pink like it should be, but he still confirmed. He said, listen, there's no burning with it. It's not burning at all. So and I am in 6th gear. There's no way this stuff could work that fast. And full disclosure, this transmission shudder has been sort of intermittent at times. So this is not going to be a good enough test. Like, we're going to have to give this some time. We're definitely going to have to drive it 20 miles, and we're definitely going to have to give it a few days and see how this all plays out. So for now, for driving about 1.5 miles or 2 miles now, just about, there is no shudder yet, and the vehicle seems to be shifting better too. Really strange. Still want to reprogram the TCM. I'm going to look into doing that, but right now, really bizarre. This thing is shifting like it should. I don't know what to say right now. Wow. I mean, give it some. Unbelievable. I don't understand. How could that little tube, this stuff, go in there and give me results this quickly? I'm in disbelief right now. I'm totally in disbelief. I'm gonna go on and cut for now, and I'll be back with another report shortly. Okay, day 1 is in the books. I don't think I'll be driving anymore. No more shuddering whatsoever. So right now I'm blown away, but let's see what happens tomorrow. All right, just starting out the day here. No shifting issues yet. This is the temperature, the current temperature for the transmission, and oil pressure is kind of low right now, oil temperature is low. So everything looks good. But I'm going to go ahead and tell you, I am still in total disbelief. I'm not trying to say that I had zero faith. I had some faith. Otherwise, I wouldn't have even purchased the product and put it in the vehicle. But it was kind of like my Hail Mary pass. It was like my last ditch effort to correct this problem without having to spend a lot of money right now. Because as we all know, in these current times, 2020, nobody wants to be putting a transmission in their car unless they're filthy rich, and even then they wouldn't want to be putting one in their car if they had what they felt was pretty low mileage to be putting a transmission in. I've never had to put a transmission in a car that had under 220,000 miles in it, and I just, that part to me was just a little bit infuriating. But like I said, if this thing holds up, there's no reason. Now, there's some people who think that I should go ahead and get the vehicle fixed. That there's mixed reviews there, but I am a big, if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of guy. And right now, I'm on the highway. I'm in 6th gear. I've already been in 6th gear before getting on the highway, where it would shudder really bad if you were traveling at a lower speed. So let's say you're traveling at 40 miles per hour. Sorry, this for people who are in the metric system. So if you're traveling at, say, 50 to 60 kilometers per hour, you would get the shudder really bad. It would be really bad. And it would also be bad at a high speed. So if you're doing like 100 kilometers per hour, or here in America it's 60 miles per hour, you would definitely get the shudder then too. you could get on the accelerator. Once again, I'm being redundant here, but if you really got on the accelerator, there's absolutely no slippage. This is very important for me to tell all of you. No slippage whatsoever, okay? It was just a shudder issue. It's just trembling, you know? The whole vehicle would just shake and tremble. And now, here I am. I'm at 129 degrees Fahrenheit with the transmission. Everything's good. And I think I'm gonna go on and conclude this video after I complete my next trip. And that transmission oil temperature, this is important to note. Typically, oh, there it goes. Now it's at 201. So typically this sits at about 206, 203. Yeah, I would say 203, 206. But it has been teetering back and forth. It has been going from a maximum of 201 back down to 198, 199. So I just wanted to note that really quick because that's really interesting here. I've definitely driven enough miles to say that this stuff is making a difference. But I don't know, it's still a mystery to me. It's crazy to see how this stuff works. I am still in total and complete disbelief. There's something in there that causes that fluid to behave differently. It affects the viscosity level in that fluid, even if it's old fluid. And that's what keeps this shudder down. So it reminds me of something that I saw in another video where this guy was brutally honest with anybody having a transmission issue. And just to keep it simple, he said, if you have driven your transmission over 80,000 miles and you have never serviced it and you start to have issues, it is too late. His whole point is, once you have driven a transmission to that point and you have neglected it or you've failed to service that transmission in any way, that the damage is done and it's irreversible. Well, that guy, obviously, he was not a fan of using Lucas. He obviously had not used instant Shudder Fixx, because I'm telling you right now, come on, let's go. God, people, don't come to Atlanta. You got the dumbest drivers are here. Like, they're such idiots. Good God, get the... Will I cut this out? I don't know. I'm just annoyed right now. People are so stupid. Good morning! Anyway. Well, you know what? It's like old times. Everything is starting to go back to normal. All right. Well, look. Everything's fine. Nothing bad happened. We're all human. It was more out of fun than anything. Believe me, I wasn't mad. But to wrap everything up, we're closing out another day here, and I don't know, I might drive somewhere else just because I'm still just trying to wrap my head around how this whole thing is working out. But I think it's time for me to tell you guys something that I've been very apprehensive about letting you know. Just my history with cars and where I've been, where I am now, you need to know. And I'm planning to post a video that's going to explain everything about my frustration with the current situation with the Lincoln Navigator. So I think you'll have a little bit of a better understanding of what's going on in my head once you see this video. And it's coming soon.